Hi, this is Bill Koenig for Straight Circle Martial Arts, and this is 10 ways to generate striking power. Number 10, the hip twist. Every style does hip twist. Whether you're boxing, whether you're karate, whether you're kung fu, it doesn't matter. Everyone knows the hip twist. So if he's here, right, like hip twist is just take those hips and bang, you slug in, right? We all know that. People hip twist because it's the simplest, most primal thing to do. We get angry, we get tight, and we swing. What you'll find is a hip twist, even though it's not the most efficient way to work, it's necessary for most people because they're so tight that they physically can't turn any other way. So hip twist is great to learn as a basic fundamental, but that should be the first one, and then you should move on to more advanced stuff. Number 9, weight shift. Weight shift is a more advanced version. Usually softer styles do this. A hip twist, what it is it's like a stick, right? You go like this and you rotate. So I rotate and I rotate and I rotate, which is all right. Weight shift is you take your entire core and your mass and you actually move the mass, right? So wherever you go, that mass goes. It doesn't require that violent jerk. It's just you shift your weight. So if he comes over, right, and I want to move him, I just sink my weight into him. Just boom, like that, right? So the advantage of this, obviously, is it takes a lot less energy. Also, it does a lot less damage to your body because there's not those hard twitches on you. And over time, you'll find as you get older, it's actually a better mechanic. Number 8, big wave. Right? Big wave is I start from my ankles, I go to my knees, to my hips, to my spine, to my shoulders, to my elbow, to my hand. It's basically like this, right? Boom. So if he comes in, right, basically it's just that, right? When you do that, the only way that works is if you're relaxed enough to let it come through the whole body. If you are too tight at any point, like you may start the wave, but then it'll hit a tension point, it'll stop, and then you have to break it loose and then start again. That's inefficient. So when you do this work, make sure the whole body is relaxed enough to do it, and that'll create the wave. Number 7, reverse wave. The problem with wave is it's just too big a lot of times. Like you can see it coming. It's got a lot of power, but it takes like 6 years to get there. And by the time you get there, the guy's moved. So reverse wave is a much smaller version of. Why I call it reverse wave is because it's actually the opposite. The hand moves first, and then the body follows into it instead of the body moves and the hand follows. He comes in, right? What happens you'll see is instead of me going like this and then going like this to here, I actually just kind of move the hand out and then go through it. So the hand comes without any really intent of throwing the strike, and then at the very end, the hand throws, and the body waves with it. It's much harder to see coming at you because it's so much smaller. It requires a lot more body feel. You have to have a lot of skill and a lot of time to kind of do that one. But if you practice that one, it has a lot of advantages of it. So you should probably learn big wave and then learn to shrink it down. Number 6, up and down. Right, we all know up and down. Right, we do katas where we go up like this, and then we go down like this, because you need your weight to throw up into the air, and you need the weight to drop to the ground. It's a good mechanic. There's a little better version of it. If you relax your hips a little more, right? See, when I go up, it comes like this, and I go down, it goes like this, and the stick is even. If you relax your hips, you'll find that you can actually get a couple more inches by lifting them on the one leg or dropping them on the one leg. So you drop both legs, but you drop one just a little more, or you lift one just a little more, and you'll get, a couple more inches out of your shot. And that doesn't seem like much, but if you stop here and you get an extra couple inches, that's a lot of penetration on somebody. So when I do this, right, if I want to drive through him, right? I could lift like this, but watch when I lift this leg. See how it comes up? I get a little more through, which is what you want. So relax the hips, let them drop up and down, and you'll get a little more power out of it. Number 5, contraction. Contraction is probably one of the most common mechanics in martial arts, because when we do things like this, by nature we contract. The reason we also contract is because under stress and fear, what do? Your body contracts. It wants to protect itself, like a fetal position type idea. So a lot of times when you see mechanics, they contract, or they contract like this. So if he comes in, right, like this mechanic here, what does it do? It contracts. The body comes into itself, right? If he throws this, it contracts. If you relax with that, it can generate a lot of power. But again, remember, it's kind of a fear mechanic. So in certain situations, but not all the time. Number 4, expansion. Expansion is a little different. Expansion is not a fear mechanic. Expansion is a confidence mechanic. If you are confident, what? You expand to the world, right? If you're afraid, what do? You hunch in. Expansion requires you to open up, right? We all know these, right? This is contraction, and this is expansion. Right? They both have their place. They're both fine. But expansion goes into them a little more, I think. Like when you go, right? If I go like this and I open, or if I open, like you get that pop on it this way. Expansions deliver a lot of power, and they don't require a lot of energy, but they do require some body mechanics, so you got to play around with it. Number 3, contraction and expansion. This is a tricky one. Sometimes you'll find that you'll throw a contraction, and then you'll hit a limit, and it'll stop you. And the way to go through that is to re-expand again. So if he comes in, and I hit him and I contract, but I'm at that point where I got nowhere else to go, look, I can open back up. So when I do this, it's a contraction, see how it comes in, and then it opens back up. So a lot of people don't think this could be done, right? Maybe speed. But you know, if you learn to open like that, there's a lot of juice on that one. Obviously it requires you get the other two down first. When you get it, then you try and put them together. Number 2, the piston. Piston's common to a lot of styles. All it is you take your elbow and you just kind of pop it like this. Right? It's just a piston mechanic, back and forth, back and forth. So if he's here, it's a nice quick shot, which I'm not going to do to him. Right? It's just like this. Right? Boom, right from the hand. Hand moves first. Hard to see. If you actually put a little weight behind it, like the weight shift, you can add a lot more to it, and it makes it a much heavier blow. It's a nice, easy blow to use, and it's quick and hard to see. Number 1 is the walkthrough. Most people, when they actually do work, they punch, they step, they plant their feet, and then they punch, which is okay, right? They feel the earth. Problem is, a lot of times as you do that, like the energy goes into the earth, and then you have to reestablish that energy to come back. If you actually just do a walkthrough, it kind of takes those steps out. The walkthrough is I just take my foot and I hit him on the walk, right? Just like this. So if he's here, if you watch the foot, right? I just, boom, hit him while my foot's up in the air. So all the energy goes to him. Boom, right? So there's no down and then this. The other advantage of this, which is really nice, is you can hit on the run. So if I have more than one person, right, I can go one to him and then on to the next person kind of in one step. One to him and one to him and whatever. And it doesn't have pauses or gaps. Otherwise, what I have to do is I have to go like this, right? One stop. turn, fight this guy, turn, fight this guy, which is inefficient. I just want a step, boom, that's it. So play with the walkthrough, just learn to walk. If you learn to walk and hit at the same time, it's a great mechanic to know. Do you need to know all these? No, not so much. I've known guys who are really good at martial arts and know maybe 2 or 3 of these, or maybe 4, and they're excellent martial artists. But for me, right, if you're going to do this for 30 years, why would I want to do the same set of mechanics for 30 years? At some point you get bored. So just for my own personal entertainment, I like to learn as many different mechanics as humanly possible. Also, it gives you more advantages. When you get into tight situations, if you can do a mechanic that most people can't, you can throw a shot that they can't do. So these take a long time to learn all of them, right? Don't think you're going to get them all at once. Take a couple, work them for a couple years. Take a couple years, right? Over 20, 30 years, you get them all down. And then you have a really interesting arsenal that a lot of people don't have. This has been Bill Koenig for Straight Circle Martial Arts. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again next time.